In the hush before the sunrise, when the world forgets to fight, there's a place I go in silence, sheltered beneath the quiet light. I've walked through storms with no umbrella, held my breath through endless nights. I whispered prayers with trembling fingers, hoping someone heard my cries. My hands were empty, heart was hollow. No one knew the weight I bore, but grace like dew fell in the shadows, and I found peace on heaven's floor. You didn't shout, you didn't thunder, you just sat beside my pain. You were the still voice through the lightning, the balm that soothed the hidden shame. And I felt sheltered beneath this quiet eye, where mercy floats and tears are wiped. Not in the noise, not in the fight, but in the hush you made things right. I wasn't lost, I wasn't gone, you've been with me all along. Broken places no one noticed, smiled through things that cracked my soul, but you saw truth beneath the surface and held me where I lost control. The world kept spinning, loud and reckless, but you stayed still when I could not. You lit the lamp I thought extinguished, you healed the wounds the world forgot. You didn't fix what made me broken, you made me brave enough to stand. You didn't rush the grieving moment, you simply offered me your hand. And I felt sheltered beneath the quiet way, where mercy flows and tears are wiped. Not in the night, not in the flame, but in the hush you made things right. I wasn't lost, I wasn't gone, you'd been with me all along. You didn't need a choir to praise, you heard the whisper in my maze, and when I couldn't lift my eyes, you lifted me through lullabies. When no one knew, you always did. When I fell short, you still forgave. When I was sinking, you were steady. My soul you rose, my soul you saved. And I found shelter beneath the quiet light, your love a flame that warms the night. I'm not alone, I'm held so tight, forever safe in sacred light. I wasn't lost, I wasn't gone, you'd been with me all along. So let me stay beneath that light, where healing sings in holy white. My tears now fall, not from despair, but from the love that met me there. I came undone on a quiet floor, heart worn thin, faith cracked and sore. I had no words, just aching space. And then I fell into your grace. I thought you wanted something perfect, thought I had to hide my scars. So I dressed up all my hurting, pretending wholeness from afar. But you saw through the painted mask, saw the bleeding, saw the cracks. And where I feared you'd turn away, you knelt instead and chose to stay. You didn't flinch when I unraveled, didn't leave when I confessed. You held the pieces I had shattered and blessed the mess I never blessed. I was healed in the hands of grace, not in a rush, not in a race. You sat with me inside the ache until my soul began to wake. You're fixing fast, no holy show, just love that whispered I won't go. I bled my truth in your embrace, and I was healed in the hands of grace. I brought you rage and doubt, and silence brought you guilt I couldn't name. I thought I'd be disqualified, but you looked past the shame. You called me worthy in my weakness, called me child in all my fear. You never once asked for perfection, you only asked that I draw near. And when the darkness said I failed you and my faith began to sink, you held the sorrow like a promise and poured hope into my drain. I was hid in the hands of grace, not in a rush, not in a race. You sat with me inside the ache until my soul began to wake. No fixing fast, no holy shame, just love that whispered, I won't go. I bled my truth in your embrace, and I was healed in the hands of grace. There's a balm in every waiting, there's a song in every scar. There's a beauty born from breaking when we surrender who we are. You don't demand that we perform, you just invite us to the storm and walk us through it step by step until the grief becomes the gift. And now I hold that kind of healing, gentle, quiet, raw and kind. I carry love you never earned, that found me when I'd lost my mind. I was healed in the hands of grace, touched by mercy's quiet face. No spotlight needed, no grand applause, just a whisper saying, you still belong. I came undone and you stood near, with open arms and only tears. I bled my truth in your embrace, and I was healed in the hands of grace. Not today, not in this state. I've got nothing left to offer, just this ache I cannot fake.
I came down from all my glory, came undone in silent grief. All the trophies I once chased couldn't buy an ounce of peace.
I broke down beside the altar, not with hymns but with a sigh. And I finally saw your mercy in the puddle where I cried. This isn't strength, it's holy weakness. This isn't pride, it's bowed regret. But somehow in this lowly posture, you gave more than I could get. And you meet us as a broken nail in the cracks we tried to seal. Not in riches, not in pride, but in the tears we couldn't hide. There's a sacred place below, where only wounded angels go. And you heal what time can't steal, when you meet us where the broken kneel.
I saw no visions or no thunder, just the silence wrapped me tight. And in that hush, you whispered softly, you're still precious in my sight. I thought surrender meant I failed you, that I'd never be enough. But you said brokenness is welcome, where my love has called your bluff.
You didn't ask me to be strong, you didn't ask me to explain. You just knelt with me in ashes and held my trembling hands again. And you meet us where the broken kneel, in the cracks we tried to seal. Not in riches, not in pride, but in the tears we couldn't hide. There's a sacred place below, where only wounded angels go. And you heal what time can't steal, when you meet us where the broken kneel.
This is not a place for masks, no stained glass smile, no scripted past. Just the bruises and the stains, and still you love me all the same. From this floor of shattered dreams, you bend down and wash me clean, and the floor becomes a throne when I bring you what I own. You don't need my polished prayers, you want my pain, my raw despair. You say come as you are, that's where my greatest healing starts. Hey, you meet us with a broken nail, with hands so scarred, so soft, so real. You kiss the shame we try to hide, and turn our souls to sacred light. In the low place, love is true, and that's where I always find you. There's a grace the world can't steal when you read us. I didn't come to preach today, I didn't come to sing. I came to drop my sorrows on the hemline of the king. No hallelujahs in my mouth, silence in my chest. I brought my tears to the altar and laid my ache to rest. They say the altar is for offering, for songs and praise and grace, but no one warned me it could be a place to show my face. The face that's worn from crying, the face that's stained with doubt, the one I hide from others when my faith feels hollowed out. I clutched the edges of the cloth where saints had wept before, and whispered, God, if you still heal, I need you at this floor. And I don't know if you'll answer with a miracle or sign, but something sacred happens when I say this hurt is mine. These tears on the altar cloth, they're not polished, pure, or proud. They carry stories, names, and silence that I could never say out loud. They soak the sacred fabric deep with loss I never got to grieve, with prayers that end in mid-breath and pain I still can't leave. But you collect them one by one, like holy oil through time. These tears on the altar cloth, somehow you save your mind. I thought you only showed in joy, in worship loud and bright, but I have seen your shadow fall in the quiet death of light. When mothers cry for children, when widows break and fall, when no one sees the sorrow, you still witness all. And when my knees gave out beneath me, when no words could form a prayer, I felt your hand beneath my ribs and knew you had been there. The crop was wet from many hearts who bled and broke before, and I found peace in knowing I wasn't the first at that door. These tears on the altar cloth, not wasted, weak or wrong, they echo through the centuries as heaven's quiet song. I leave them here as offerings, too sacred to explain, and trust that you will gather them like rivers turn from rain. You see what no one dares to speak, you wash what none can clean. These tears on the altar cloth become the holiest scene. You see what no one dares to speak, you wash what none can clean. These tears on the altar cloth, they become the holiest scene, but our hearts try not to show. So let this be the sanctuary for the grief we cannot name. Like tears become the incense that rises through the shame. These tears on the altar cloth, not forgotten, not denied. They are woven into worship, where the broken hear their cry. I brought no strength, no offering, just a soul laid bare in angel. And I was met by arms wide open in the silence of your will. So I will leave my sorrow here, oh, your mercy owes the cost. And I will rise from the altar cloth, where once I wept and lost.
For the one who sits in silence, with the war behind their eyes. For the soul too tired to whisper, or even lift a cry. Let this prayer rise up for you, from someone who's been there too.
Maybe faith feels far away now, like a flicker lost in a wind. Maybe hurt built walls so thick, you don't know where to begin. Maybe every word feels hollow, and you're numb from all the pain. Maybe you've forgotten heaven through the fog of loss and shame. But I believe God hears the silence, every sigh and every stare. When your lips don't form the pleading, your heart beats the prayer. So I'll pray for the ones who can't pray tonight, for the ones who lost their strength to fight, for the voices swallowed in despair, for the knees too tired for prayer. I will lift you to the sky, even if you just ask why. There is grace in just surviving, and your stillness is not hiding. God is near, even in the grave. So here's a prayer for the ones who can't pray. If you feel like love has left you, or forgiveness passed you by, if the mirror shows you failure and no tears are left to cry, please don't think that you're forgotten, or your silence means you're weak. The angels understand the language of the broken who can't speak. God reads more than spoken letters, He sees bruises on your soul. And He walks the quiet valleys where the shattered hearts still go. So I'll pray for the ones who can't pray tonight, for the ones who've dimmed their inner light, for the prayers you meant to send but couldn't finish, couldn't mend. I will carry you in mind till you find your own in time. Even silence has its sound, and in your stillness grace is found. God is near, even in the grave. So here's a prayer for the ones who can't pray, and your voice is just a whisper when your soul is frayed and thin. May you know He's leaning closer, and He's not demanding wings. You are not a faithless failure. You're a soul beneath the storm, and the God who made the thunder still loves when hearts are torn. So if you can't lift your head tonight, just rest, don't try to fight. I've walked where words ran dry, and still He stayed nearby. I'll pray for the words who can't play tonight, for the hearts that ache without the light, for the weary wounded one, for the faith that's bruised and torn. I will cry, don't worry. He doesn't shout through your silence, He doesn't rush your tears. He walks like a whisper beside you, through the pain, through the fear. The world moves on so quickly, with timelines, clocks, and pace. But Jesus sees the weight you bear and never looks away. When the night feels never ending, when your prayers feel stuck and dry, He kneels beside your sorrow and waits with no reply. You don't have to feel better fast. You don't need to fake a smile. You walk slow with the hurting, and He'll stay with you a while. God walks slow with the hurting. He doesn't push or pull. He knows your heart is heavy and your soul can't yet feel full. He doesn't ask you to pretend or praise before you're ready. He walks with hands wide open, holding every moment steady. No judgment in His footsteps, just presence soft and true. God walks slow with the hurting, and He's walking now with you. He doesn't quote quick answers or slap a verse on pain. He sits in sacred silence and holds you through the rain. When others move on quickly, forgetting what you faced, God stays in every moment that others won't embrace. He knows how long it's taken just to make it through the day, so He won't rush your healing or demand that you feel okay. He's not pacing with impatience or measuring your pace. He's matching every breath you take and filling all the space. God walks slow without hurting. He lets your silence speak. He stays through every tremble, through every fragile week. He knows your breaking rhythms. He knows your sacred scars, and He's not asking answers, just to walk you where you are. So take the time you need to feel. He's patient, kind, and true. God walks slow with the hurting, and He's walking now with you. If all you did was breathe today, that breath was still a prayer. If all you felt was empty, still God was fully there. He honors every heartbeat, even those that ache and stall. He's not here to fix you fast. He's here to catch your fall. You don't need to prove you're strong or smile when it's untrue. He already knows the storm inside, and still He chooses you. God walks slow with the hunting, in shadows and in light. He won't rush your tomorrow. He's faithful through the night. So if healing comes in inches and knowing leaves our souls, know He's still proud you're walking, even when the path feels long. He walks slow with the hurting. You won't let go astray. God walks slow with the hurting run, every hour, every day. I didn't say goodbye, I didn't even cry. I just left without a prayer, like He wouldn't even care. My feet were full of fire, my heart was full of lies. I thought freedom looked like running, but it left me paralyzed. I chased the world until it broke me, gave my soul to what was fake. I traded love for cheap illusions and burned bridges in my wake. I thought it slammed the door behind me, that grace would just expire. But every time I turned around, the cross was still on fire. I never heard Him shout or chase, no thunder from the sky, just stillness where I left Him and patience in His eyes. He waited while I ran through deserts, through my shame. He didn't send the storm, He just whispered my name. He stayed when I was hiding, He watched each foolish plan. He didn't send the storm, He just whispered my name. He stayed when I was hiding, He watched each foolish plan. He didn't block the road I took, He waited while I ran. I spent years with hungry hands,
In places grace don't grow, I drank from wells that dried too fast, and begged what couldn't hold. I blamed the God I left behind for pain I chose to bear, until the silence of my soul was louder than despair. And when I dropped my pride, with nothing left to prove, I turned back toward His mercy and saw He never moved. He waited while I ran, He never turned away. Though I cursed His holy name, He blessed me anyway. His love was not impatient, it never forced my hand. He didn't drag me home in chains, He waited while I ran. And when I came back broken, my heart in pieces small, I feared He'd scorn my weakness, but instead He took it all. His arms were open wider than the road I used to flee. I didn't find a jailer, I found a Father welcoming me. He didn't need an apology, just a turning heart again. He didn't measure miles I strayed, He just ran to let me in. He waited while I ran through shadows and regret. I thought I'd burned the bridge to Him, but He never left. He stayed in quiet mercy, He held my place and plan. I was lost but not forgotten. He waited while I rest, so now I walk, not run, and stay where life gets hard, 'cause I've learned that love like His is never very far. He waited while I ran through shadows and regret. I thought I turned the bridge to Him, but He never very far. I didn't ask for the breaking, I didn't sign up for pain, but somehow in the shattering, I met God in the rain. I thought the crack would ruin me, that the fracture would undo, but now I know the secret. The wound is where the light came through. I wore my strength like armor, pretending I was whole, but life has a way of stripping down the surface from the soul. I fell apart in silence, too broken to explain. But grace doesn't ask for grammar, it just sits with all your pain. I never felt so helpless, so fragile, bare and small. But sometimes when you're kneeling, you're finally standing tall. The wound is where the light came through, where mercy met the mess of you, where heaven bent to touch the scar and whispered, you are loved as you are. It's not the shield that He pursues, but the hearts that break into the wound, the tear that trembled in view. That's where the light came through. We speak of blessings often, like comfort, wealth, or peace, but some blessings come in shadows, in the pain that doesn't cease. There's glory in survival, in the tears you didn't hide. There's beauty in the questions, when the answers all divide. I found God in the ruins, in the ache I thought I'd lose, in every place I bled from, that's where the light came through. Click cautiously with your stops. If you're still bleeding, don't retreat. Your heart's a holy, breaking beat, and every crack, each bruise and line is where His glory dares to shine. The wound is where the light came through. Then I was lost and no one knew. When shame had built his quiet wall, and I was too afraid to all. That's when his love broke through the dark, not into strength, but into scars, not past my pain, but into view. The wound is where the light came through. What if the broken isn't cursed? What if the ache is love reversed? What if the cracks are not your shame, but how God has signed his holy name? Let them see your story raw, not polished, perfect, clean or flaw. Your weakness is your living proof. The wound is where the light came through. No need to rush your healing now. Just breathe and take another vow that even if the pain remains, you'll rise again through sacred stain. The wound is where the light came through. Not in spite of, but because of you. Your hurting heart, your silent cries have painted hope across the skies. And even if you're breaking still, he's with you in a hollow hill. From every crack his love shines true. The wound is where the light came through. You're crying all alone. You think he's far above the moan, but before your tear could even fall, he cried first, and he cried for all. In Gethsemane's dark garden, he wept into the ground, with trembling lips and breaking voice. No comfort to be found, betrayed by those he trusted, abandoned in the fight. He knows the ache you carry in the loneliest of night. He didn't hide his weakness, he didn't shield his fears. He offered up his broken heart and sanctified our tears. He cried first, so we would know it's only just to let tears flow. He wept before the morning sun, when all his friends had turned our tears. So if your eyes can't hold the pain, let go, you're not to blame. You're never weak for breaking, even God cried just the same. He wept when Lazarus lay cold, though resurrection he foretold. He didn't skip the grief we feel, he stepped inside and made it real. The man of sorrows bore it all, the silent shame, the failing fall. So when you're drowning in your night, remember he once lost the fight, or so it seemed, until the day the stone was rolled and death obeyed. But before the glory, hear this verse, your Savior knows he cried first. Before he hid, before he rose, he wore your wounds, he felt your lows. Before he conquered death's dark curse, he broke, he begged, he cried first. He cried first, he claiming every bend. He cried first, he craves in privat cursed. Oi pausen picties and relaxing in the land, oi make the off the way your patterns. He cried first, say you can grieve without apology or need to leave. He sat inside the pain unspoken, with arms wide open for the broken. So go ahead, don't hold it in, you're not less holy when you spin. God met us in our softest worst, with shaking shoulders, he cried first. He didn't come as someone strong, but fragile flesh and moved by wrong. He knows the cost of human ache, of nights too long and hearts that break. He doesn't stand above your cries, he's kneeling there with tearful eyes. And when you sob with nothing left, he weeps with you in every breath. This isn't weakness, it is grace, a savior with a weeping face. So let your heart release the thirst. He holds your tears and he cried first. You cried first and cries with you in every loss you're walking through, in every prayer you cannot say. His mercy doesn't turn away. And when you feel you're all alone, just picture him beside your groan. He's not ashamed of pain unmasked. Remember this, your Savior cried first. I don't need to be okay yet.
I've worn too many fake smiles lately, said I'm fine when I could barely breathe. The world keeps rushing healing forward, but grace is patient underneath. So here I stand with trembling hands and broken prayers I don't regret. 'Cause now I know I'm not alone. I don't need to be okay yet. I used to think faith looked like power, like singing loud and standing tall. But lately it looks more like silence and just surviving through it all. I thought that tears were signs of failure, that doubt would surely push God back. But here He is, still holding me, when all I feel is what I lack. I tried to force a Sunday morning in the middle of a Saturday night, but God prefers the honest breaking to polished, perfect kinds of light. I don't need to be okay yet, I just need to stay. I don't need to smile or fake it, I can cry and pray. He's not scared of fragile faith or hearts that don't know what to say. There's no rush, no final test. I don't need to be okay yet. I thought the valley had no meaning, just a place to pass on through. But something in the ache is holy, then now I see the valley too. My soul's still learning how to whisper when all the world demands a shout. But even quiet groans are sacred when they're what you pour out. The pressure to be better's heavy, but love's not keeping echo today. God doesn't ask me to perform, just show up in my disarray. What if the mess is part of worship? What if the cracks let mercy in? What if my soul steps toward the light? Are miracles wrapped in skin? I don't need to be okay yet, I just need to breathe. I don't need to have the answers or pretend that I believe. He's not waiting for perfection, He's in this moment's fragile thread. With every sigh and quiet help, I don't need to be okay yet. So let the tears come if they will, let the silence have its fill. Let the questions stand and ache, there's no shame in what they break. Even in the deepest doubt, God's not looking for a shout. He draws near when hearts confess, I'm here, Lord, in this mess. If healing takes 1,000 nights, then He will stay through every fight. No checklist, rule, or goal reset, just grace that says, you're loved as yet. I don't need to be okay yet, I just need to be real. I don't need to win or conquer, I just need to feel. And if I'm lost and barely breathing, His love hasn't left me yet. I'm safe, I'm seen, I'm fully met. I don't need to be okay yet.
I walked in with a storm inside, with heavy steps and darker skies. My head was bowed, my spirit torn, wearing guilt like it was war. The pew was empty,
The air was still, but grace was waiting on the hill. And with hands that couldn't lift to pray,
I found the strength to stay. I sat where sinners always sit, the back row hiding every bit. The songs went on, but I just cried, afraid that God would see inside.
I had a past I never spoke, a name I thought my shame revoked. But something in that holy air said, child, come lay it there. And I took one trembling step, with every secret still intact. But each foot closer to that cross felt like my soul came back. I laid my shame at the altar, every failure, every scar. I didn't need to speak a word, he already knew my heart. I left the weight I'd carried away, mercy meets regret. I laid my shame at the altar, and he hasn't returned it yet. I thought he'd turn his eyes away, that holy light would burn my shame. But his gaze was warm and still, like a father bending low to heed. I saw no fire, no lightning flash, no punishment, no wrathful lash. Just hands that once were pierced for me, reaching gently, setting me free. I poured it all in silence there, the self-hate, guilt, and old despair. And for the first time in my life I self-forgiven, clean and right. I laid my shame at the altar, and he called me by my name. Not what I'd done, not who I'd been, but what I was through grace. No sermon ever shook me like a stillness where I knelt. I laid my shame at the altar, and left with nothing else. He didn't shame me for my past, he didn't ask how long it'd last. He only showed me nail-scarred hands and said, this is where new life began. I thought I had to earn the place, I thought I drowned beneath this grave. But at the altar truth was sound. Redemption doesn't ask, it comes. No need to wait for worth to wise, no need to fake or memorize. Just bring the weight that won't let go, and watch him wash away a snow. Final chorus down the altar, and I'd never follow home. I came in lost and trembling, I left wrapped in his robe. The past still tries to whisper, but grace speaks louder yet. I laid my shame at the altar, and my soul has no regrets.
And lo, the laureates would come, just silence deep. Life road was closed, too much to speak.
I knelt with eyes too sore to see, and wept where only God could be. They told me I should speak in faith, that every storm required praise. But all I had were trembling hands and broken dreams like shattered glass. I didn't quote a single verse, I didn't sing, I didn't curse. I only cried in grief so wide I thought he wouldn't hear inside. But somehow in that sacred hush, my tears became the only trust. And when no words were left to use, I found that tears are prayers too. He gathered every falling drop, like diamonds from the ache I brought. Not one was wasted, not one ignored. They echoed through his mercy's door. Tears are prayers too, when hearts can't speak, when faith feels lost and hope feels weak. They rise like incense through the dark, a cry for healing from the heart. He reads the language of our pain, he knows the flood before the rain. No prayer is ever small or through, even silence soaked in tears breaks through. I used to think I had to shine to clean my soul before his time, but brokenness became my hand, and sorrow taught me how to bend. He met me in a quiet blur, in every sob he gently stirred. I didn't know my grief could sin until I wept before my king. He didn't ask me to explain, he only held me in my pain. And when I couldn't lift a sound, his spirit knelt and wrapped around, for he remembers every cry, each drop of prayer that didn't die. The soul may shake, the voice may fade, but still he listens to the ache. Tears are prayers too, when love runs dry. where loss cuts deep and questions fly, where every joy feels out of view. He counts your tears and holds them true. He writes them in his book of care, a holy record carved in prayer. The cry that no one ever knew still reached the heart of God who knew. So if you sit in sacred pain and feel like faith won't rise again, let your tears fall brave and free. The prayers the angels bring to He doesn't need a poet's song. He doesn't ask if you've been strong. He only waits for what is true, and tears will always carry you. Cry if you must, just let it go, for heaven hears what you can't show. There's healing in each drop you lose, because tears are prayers too. Tears are prayers too, not second best, but honest gifts from an aching chest. When silence holds more truth than speech, that's when your soul begins to reach. He knows the hurt you walk into. He sits beside you in the pew, and any tear you thought he missed. They told me blessings look like gold, like strength that never bends or falls. But all I had were shattered things, a soul too bruised to even sing. Then He came near without a word, and in my wreckage grace occurred. Not in the triumph I professed, but in my wounds I was caressed. The altar didn't ask for shine. It called for hearts that ran from time, the ones who barely made it through, the ones the world called much too bruised. He knelt beside the tears I hid. He didn't flinch, He never did. He touched the pieces I had cursed and whispered, "This is where I work." He's not looking for the flawless, not the proud or the impressed, but the weary and the wounded. The broken are the last, the broken are the blessed. The lost ones He'll restore, the ones who think they failed too much are who He loves even more. He chooses hearts with scars and cracks, with halves too deep to guess. He calls them close and lifts them up. The broken are the blessed. He walks through hospitals and grief, through rehab rooms and prison streets. He doesn't turn from cries or shame. He speaks a true eternal name. The world discards what it can't fix, but grace rewrites what shame predicts. He weaves His glory in our flaws and calls it all a sacred cause. He's not moved by masks or titles, but by hearts that can't suppress the ache of being human. The broken are the blood, the broken are the blood. Neither daunted nor too far, He finds them in the ashes and crowns their fading stars. The ones who think they're too messed up, they're first upon His chest. He binds the soul that's torn in two. The breaking are the legs. So bring your doubts, your silent screams, your fractured hope, your dead dreams. Don't hide the cracks, don't fake the light. Your wounds are welcome in His sight. For He was broken, bruised, and scarred. Our Savior bears the deepest marks, and in His nail-pierced hands He proves that broken things are what He moves. The power
crowd don't see the need for grace, but mercy runs to lonely space. His kingdom's built on those who wept. The broken are the blessed. The broken are the blessed. The tired and worn, the shame, the stress, He gathers them like scattered stars and places them upon His chest. So if you think He passed you by, or silence, head bowed low, no words to give, no strength to show. The night was thick with doubt and pain, and all I had was tears again. The room felt cold, my heart was numb, my faith too weak to even run. I thought He'd left, I couldn't see, but still His arms surrounded me. I didn't whisper, didn't sing, I didn't lift a sacred bane, just laid there like a wounded soul, too lost to seek, too tired to know. And yet I felt a stillness come, a holy warmth I couldn't shun. No sermon song or preacher's voice, just love that didn't need my choice. And breath was short and light grew dim when I had nothing left for Him. He stayed right there, He did not sway. He held me when I couldn't pray. He held me when I couldn't speak, when I was fragile, lost and weak. He heard the cries I couldn't say, and wrapped me in His quiet grace. I didn't have to say a word, He felt it all, He always heard. He didn't wait for me to kneel, He came to where I couldn't feel. He held me when the light was gone, He held me till the break of dawn. My soul survived because He stayed. He held me where I couldn't pray. The Holy doesn't run from pain, He walks us through the hardest rain. And when our lips are sealed by fear, His Spirit leans and draws us near. He knew my storm before I did, He saw the cracks that I had hid. And when I broke without a sound, that's where His mercy wrapped around. I didn't need a flawless line or perfect words to make Him mine. His love required no display. He held me when I couldn't pray. He held me when my hope ran dry, when all I did was ache and cry, when guilt and shame had made me run. He found me and He called me son. He didn't ask what brought me low, He simply sat and let me know that I was still His precious child. Even in my weeping wild, He held me in the dark of soul, until the day I felt made whole. Not once did He let go or stray. He held me when I couldn't pray. So if you're there too tired to stand, just breathe and rest in His strong hands. Your silence is not shame to Him, it's where His grace begins again. He's near to every break and cry, to every soul that wonders why. You don't need strength to seek His face, He meets you in that silent place. Don't fear the moments when you fall. He held me when I couldn't pray, when all I gave were empty days, and still He loved me all the same. Through every doubt and every shame, I know my God will never stray. He held me when I couldn't pray, when all The sky broke open like my soul. Thunder whispered what I never told. And in the tears that fell so free, I found the Lord was weeping with me. It wasn't in the perfect church or words rehearsed to end the hurt. It wasn't in a silver light, but in the storm that came that night. Each drop that fell upon my skin spoke of the war I held within. Yet somehow in that steady sound, I knew I stood on holy ground. And though the clouds were dark with grief, the rain became my soul's relief. I felt the whisper through my shame, child, I am near, I knew your name. I saw God in the rain, not in gold or crystal flame, but in the water on my face. I felt His wild and tender grace. No thunder scared me anymore. I stood there drenched and healed and sore, for in that storm He felt my pain. Yes, I saw God in the rain. Ooh. I thought He'd left when skies grew black, when peace was gone and faith pulled back. But now I see He never ran. He held the clouds within His hand. The trees all swayed like prayers unheard. The wind became a living word, and every lightning strike I feared just showed the dark that God was near. No sermon gave me what He gave, the sky a chapel, storm a wave. I lifted hands not out of pride, but knowing He was by my side. I saw God in the rain, washing guilt I couldn't name. Each drop became a holy hymn, a song of love I found in Him. No roof above, no pew, no light, just heaven breaking through my night. And there beneath the clouds refrain, I saw my God in dawn. The rain kept falling, soft and slow, like mercy drenching all I know. He wasn't far, He wasn't cold. He met me where my faith grew old. I bowed my heart upon the ground and heard no words but felt the sound. The Savior crying tears like mine, baptizing me outside of time. So let the heavens flood the field, let storms arise, let sorrows heal. If Christ can fought every storm, then broken hearts can be reborn. I saw God in the rain, not through ease of fortune's gain, but everywhere. Tore the nights I cried, the clothes I wore. I thought that shame was all I'd be, but grace rewrote my story. Wasn't born with holy light, I wandered far into the night. The prayers they said bounced off my skin. I didn't think He'd let me in. My past was loud, my heart was faint. I carried sin like heavy paint, each chapter filled with loss and pain. I thought I'd never heal again, but mercy doesn't wait for fame. It meets the soul too tired for blame. And on the worst page of my past, His love said, child, this won't be your last. Grace wrote my story in lines of light through all my shame. He took the ashes, made them glory, signed His mercy by my name. No more erased, no more ignored. I'm not the wounds I hid before. He held the pen so tenderly, erased from my story. I thought I'd die with secrets deep that no one else would dare to keep.
But he walked in and didn't leave. He stayed with me through unbelief. The lies that told me your true fall were silenced by his healing scars. And when I read my past out loud, he smiled and called it holy ground. The ink of heaven touched my soul. It didn't judge, it just made whole. And in the pages that I fear, he wrote redemption through my tears. Grace wrote my story with every stain washed in his blood. He didn't skip the pain or mourning, he wove it in to show his love. My broken roads, my silent screams became the ink of better dreams. I am not lost, I've been set free. Grace wrote my story, and when I face the final page, I won't be filled with fear and rage. I'll lift my soul to heaven's kingdom, thank him for the suffering. For every tear, he made a song. For every why, he made me strong. And now I live to testify, his pen can turn the worst to light. So if you're torn or feel erased, just turn the page and trust his grace. Don't close the book, you're not the end. You're just where grace begins again. Grace wrote my story, not in gold but in the cracks. With every fall and every glory, he never once turned his back. I see his hand in every line. The mess I was, the peace I find. And now I read my history and whisper, grace wrote my story. Not in gold, but in the cracks. With every fall and every glory, he never once turned his back. I see his hand in every line. The mess I was, the peace I find. And now I read my history and whisper, grace wrote my story. The chapters bent, the covers worn, still tell of how I was reborn. And when the world forgets my name, this story still remains the same. No editor, no shame can steal, but only heaven's love made real. I am the page he set free. Grace, grace wrote my story. I didn't know his hands were near when all I felt was pain and fear. But somehow in my silent plea, I was held by the hands I couldn't see. I cried behind a bedroom door, too tired to fight, too bruised to roar. I thought no one could ever know the way I hurt, the depths below. But something wrapped around my soul, a piece I didn't try to hold. I should have shattered, should have drowned, but somehow I was safe, not found. There were no arms, no words out loud, no preacher's voice, no worship sound. Just one soft breath that stayed with me, and hands I couldn't even see. I was held by the hands I couldn't see when everyone let go of me. In the dark where no light dared to be, love wrapped around my misery. Not because I earned a thing, not because I sang or prayed, but grace came down so silently. I was held by the hand I couldn't see. I walked through fire, I walked through loss, I knelt at graves and carried cross. I heard silence loud and clear. It whispered, child, I'm always near. My eyes were blind, my heart half dead. I thought that maybe God had fled, but mercy isn't in a shout, it's in the arms that pull you out. And though I doubted, though I swore that I was done, believe no more. I found my knees, I found the guy, and felt his fingers jarring my cry. I was helped by the walls I couldn't see. When the night had swallowed me, not a touch you'd feel or trace, but love that wraps me in its grace. Not because I got it right, but even when I cursed the light, he never stopped believing in me. I was
held by the hands I couldn't see. Maybe you're there now, too afraid to speak your soul to it all, your spirit weak. I swear to you, he's there, still near. Though you don't see, he's always here. He holds the cracks, he feels the pain, he counts your breaths, he knows your name. You're not alone, don't unbelieve. You are held by hands you cannot see. When my strength was gone, when I stopped asking, when I gave up on the world, God didn't give up on me. And held by the hands I couldn't see, when love felt like a memory. Wrap my wounds in the story of Christ that offered no decree. And now I live to tell that even when I feel I failed, there's someone holding every plea in the hands I still can't see. So when you feel the end is near and all you have are silent tears, just know that he's there, still free. You're held by hands you cannot see. That even when I feel I failed, there's someone holding every plea in the hands I still can't see. So when you feel the end is near and all you have are silent tears, just know that he is there, still free.
I thought I'd cry alone again, but someone knelt beside my sin. He didn't preach or try to yell, he simply wept where I had fell. My prayers were shards I couldn't speak, my bones too tired, my soul too weak. I dug my grave in shame and stone, and cursed the silence all alone. But in the stillness came the sound of footsteps walking holy ground. Not angry words or fire from high, but gentle sobs as he drew nigh. He didn't wait for me to rise, or clean my wounds or dry my eyes. He sat beside my shattered shell, and he wept where I had fell. He didn't stand and shout my name, or judge me for my guilt and shame. He came down low and knelt with me, and wept with love I couldn't see. Not lightning bolts, no thunder swell, just tears that broke my deepest hell. No need to speak, no need to yell. He wept right where I fell. I felt the ground beneath me shake from all the hearts I used to break. I thought a holy God would flee, but still he reached his hands to me. He touched the dirt upon my face and whispered, "Child, this is still grace." No lecture came, just mercy's voice that said, "You're still my broken choice." And though I tried to turn away, his silence told me it's okay. No perfect faith, no hearts to sell, just love that wept where I had fell. He didn't shine with loads of white, he didn't blind me with his light. He wore the scars I recognized and let me break, not justify. He gave no wrath, just sacred spell of tears that flowed where I rebelled. The Son of God with me in hell, yes, he wept right where I fell. How can it be a king so high would kneel beside a man who'd lie, would trade his throne for dirt and shame, just to whisper softly, "I know pain"? He could have walked past, judged and gone, but stayed with me the whole night long. He shared my tears, my loss, my shell, and wept with me right where I fell. You saw me broken, Lord, not just a sinner, but as wounded. And you didn't rescue me with noise, you rescued me with tears. So when they say God's far above, I'll tell them of his aching love. How he sat down in all my mess. No rodeo crown, just tenderness. And when I saw that brief farewell, he gave me breath and broke my shell. He didn't preach or ring a bell, he just wept me if I fell. Now every time I lose my way, I think of where his tears still stay. Not far from me, not in a cell, but in the place where I once fell.
I lit a candle in the rain, hoping heaven heard my name. And though my heart was torn in two, I felt a whisper passing through. I looked up at the silent skies, asking God to tell me why. Why do the good ones fade so fast? Why does the future feel like past? And then a breeze kissed both my cheeks, like someone gone was trying to speak. A still small voice that calmed my scars said, "Child, heaven's not that far." You think we're lost in endless light, but we still walk with you each night. Not gone, not trapped behind a star, just breathe away, not very far. Heaven's not that far away, it's in your prayers, your softest day. In grandma's hands and lullabies, in every tear you try to hide. It's not some gate beyond the sea, it's here in every memory. In love that stays just where you are. Believe me, heaven's not that far. I saw your coat still hanging here, swore I could almost feel you here. The songs you sang, your old perfume, still dances in this quiet room. I thought I'd break beneath the grief, but faith is stitched in disbelief. For though you're gone, you left a spark, and heaven's never been that dark. They say goodbye is cold and true, but love is days at breaking through. I see you smiling from afar, but I swear it's not that far. Heaven's not that far away, it's in the things you used to say. In morning light and late night cries, in every I love you goodbye. It's not just clouds and golden halls, it's footsteps down familiar halls. In every I love you goodbye. It's not just clouds or golden halls, it's footsteps down familiar halls. And songs that play inside my car, it proves that heaven's not that far. So I will live with softer hands and cherish moments where I stand. Hold your laughter in the air and find your fingerprints in prayer. And when my time on earth is done, don't cry too hard, just look for sun. I'll be the warmth that breaks the dark, just like you said, not very far. Lord, remind me that what feels gone is only waiting, that love outlives death, that heaven has no locked doors, that the ones I miss still walk beside me. Heaven's not that far away, it's in the love we give each day. In stranger smiles and quiet grace, in all the hearts we can't replace. So when I ache, I won't despair, I'll close my eyes and you'll be there. You love this earth but not my heart, and heaven's really not that far. One day I'll come where you now are, just down the road, not very far. Until that day, I'll raise my eyes and know you're near and soft goodbyes. See gift offering. Sometimes all I have is breath and barely that, but he leans in close when I can't do more than that. When words are too heavy and prayers won't come clear, when silence surrounds me and I feel he's not near, I've learned this one truth that keeps pulling me through. He knows my voice when I whisper, even when I barely do. I've whispered in heartache, I've whispered in fear, I've whispered, please help, with one trembling tear. And every time, heaven didn't wait for noise. It wrapped around my quiet grief and answered without voice. He knows my voice when I whisper, he hears the hush in my soul. He doesn't need a sermon, just the sound of letting go. He leans into the silence when I'm too weak to cry. I'm still a child in his presence, even when I don't know why. I've whispered in hospitals, on bedroom floors alone. I've whispered in my failures where no one else had known. And I thought he needed volume, a song or sacred line, but grace came through the quiet and made the broken holy mine. He knows the crack in every breath, the meaning in each sigh. I never had to prove my faith by sounding strong or high. He met me in the stillness where words had all run dry, and held the smallest whisper like thunder in the sky. He knows my voice when I whisper, he sees me in the dark. He catches every quiet groan and reads my fragile heart. I don't need to shout in worship, I don't need to shine, I just need to breathe and stay, and somehow I survive. He walked where silence fed like stones, in gardens drenched in dread. He wept alone while shadows grew. Around the thorns he bled, and so he knows this whisper place, the hush before the dawn. He hears me when I say his name, without my arm along. The angels don't demand I roar. The spirit doesn't rush, the Father bends, keeps the ones who only cry and hush. So if today I only whisper, that's enough for him to move. My quiet love still shakes the sky in his nearness groove. Oh, he knows my voice when I whisper. He holds my struggling breath. He speaks in all the places where fear is turning deaf. I don't need no voice like mountains or burn like fire's blood. He knows me in the whisper, and still he calls my name.
Connect with us on YouTube for more incredible music. Subscribe to Bruno Eric YouTube channel.